All right, here we go. Vanilla Ice, welcome back to Vlad TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in your Miami mansion?
Back in the house, man. Back in the house.
That's right. Well, we did, a very dope interview last time. Went viral. A bunch of the parts went viral. But there's some parts that I didn't get to talk about. So I want to, talk about those.
All right.
So you were born in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever know your real
Halloween.
father?
On Halloween. I'm a spook.
Okay, you were born on Halloween. Did you ever know your biological father?
No. My mom never gave me a straight story.
Huh.
We heard stories of who it was and stuff like that and who I thought it was, and it came out to, Mom, I love you, but I'm going to tell you dirt. She just tells me, because my mom is the greatest mom in the world. She's so sweet. And she says, honey, I got around. My mom's been married like 7 times.
7 times?
Her last name right now is like Bryant, like Kobe Bryant. And we don't know, my sister and my brother have never met Bryant. Who is this guy? When did she moved to Tacoma and eloped out in front of everybody, and now her name is Bryant. My mom has been married, so let me just explain it really short. So she tells us stories, right? And it's funny because she says, honey, look at it like this. I'm looking for love in the wrong places, right? I said, okay. And she says, but I am happy. I'm the happiest person on the planet. And I go, 7 marriages, wow. She goes, look at it like this. I got 7 honeymoons, 7 wedding dresses, 7 marriages. Most girls, they lucky if they get 1. She goes, I got 7 honeymoons and dresses and weddings, and she loves it. She goes, it didn't work out. That's what it is.
Okay, so, because from what I understand, you were given the family name of the guy she was married to when you were born.
Yeah.
So she got pregnant by one guy and then got married to another before giving birth?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, no, she was born. There was a guy, and that guy, I think, found out that he wasn't the guy that was the real.
So
he beat my mom up pretty bad. Don't want to explain that out there, but the story I hear from my mom is she had to run away from that guy, and he was not my father. He found out.
Okay,
So,
and this Van Winkle was his last name?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know who the hell I am. Who's my dad? No, it don't even matter, because I've had one of my stepdads was kind of my dad, Byron, and he was the guy who took me to the motocross races and gave me a lot of knowledge, and he was my sister's real dad, and most of the years when I was raised, he was there. So that's the more important part, that he took on that role for me, so I didn't ever miss having a dad or anything. And my mom is super mom, so she played both parts. Some people might miss their dad or miss something about it, and never even wondered, thought, or had any thought at all about it. It's kind of like a funny thing, because there's nothing there to miss if there's nothing there to begin with. See what I'm saying?
So Vanilla Ice's real dad may not even know that his son is Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, exactly true.
Crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Wow.
My mom don't even know. That's the sad thing.
Well, maybe if you do a DNA test,
Mom,
you might connect the dots
I asked
somehow.
my brother, because he's older than me. I said, what happened, dude? He's 5 years older.
What, same dad?
No.
Oh, dude.
Dad. all my brothers and sisters have different dads.
How many kids?
3.
3 kids, all different dads.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I'm middle. So, never has been a thought or an issue. My mom explains it very well, and the way she says it's kind of funny. It's just like, hey, shit happens. It's what it was. 70s, 80s, shit, people get around.
Yeah.
And they do that, and I'm like, good for you, Mom. 7 wedding dresses, 7 honeymoons. Guess it's a good thing. You're still happy, you're still here. And she didn't take a dime from any child support from anybody. And she raised these 3 kids alone.
Wow.
On her own dime, and had to go out and work and do her thing. That's why we love her so much.
That's crazy.
Mom can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
She's the best. Sweetest lady you ever met. That's why
Okay.
I'm telling you, word to your mother. Word to my mother.
Word to your mother. Okay, so you're growing up in Texas, and hip-hop starts to become a national thing. And of course, it starts in New York. But then I remember in the early 80s, when I used to see the New York City Breakers, and you started seeing the early hip-hop records, you and I you're a little bit older, but right around the same time, we were both getting into hip-hop and breakdancing. And you're one of the early breakdancers.
That's right.
Could you ever windmill?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
That's the one move I could never get.
Spin on my head.
I'm so jealous right now. I
At
can
the
spin on my
mall,
head. I can do a
40
backspin.
bucks a day.
I can do a centipede.
Yep.
but never a
Put a
windmill.
toboggan on, man. You get all that slick and just keep going and keep your balance. But hurt like hell if we did it now, wouldn't it?
Yes. My knees, I have a torn meniscus now. Like,
All
I'm
my
not doing
motocross
that.
crashes in that dirt, and people forget that breakdancing was brutal to the body. You have to live in pain.
Now, there was a group of kids at that time, and you were the only white kid, and that's how you got the name Vanilla?
Yeah, that was funny because I did a move called the ice. I was just vanilla. I wasn't ice. Vanilla ice. It was just vanilla.
What was the ice?
I didn't like the vanilla. So the vanilla came first, and I said, "Stop calling me that. Were you guys racist? You know, why are you calling me that? Because I'm white." And and anytime you have friends around you that they're like jackass. You know, they make fun of shit. They say, "Oh, he don't like it," so they tease you with it. Vanilla, 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 vanilla. Fuck you, man. Stop calling me that. Now I love it. The ice came from a dance move I had where, you know, the break where you go sideways and it looks like you're on ice. You've seen the move.
Oh, right.
So I kind of was like one of the first people in my crew that was doing that ice move. So they were like, Vanilla, do that ice move. Hey, Vanilla Ice, do the Vanilla. Vanilla, do the ice move. And then they just put them together.
Vanilla Ice.
But it was a nickname. I didn't like it. And now I love it, of course. But at the time, it just, they invented it as just being jackass, calling me Vanilla Ice. I'm like, okay, all right.
Okay, now, when you...
I wish I could come up with something that cool. Like, that was a cool name. They came up with it, you know?
Yeah, and it stuck. To this day. Now it's a household name.
Legend.
Okay, now, when you put together Ice Ice Baby, that phrase, that's a black fraternity chant.
Yeah.
Right? Alpha Phi Alpha.
Correct.
And I remember I was looking it up this morning.
I didn't know it.
Oh, you didn't know it at the time?
No.
Okay, because for example, when you watch the movie School Days,
I know.
they actually
I know
ice,
it's in there.
ice,
I know
baby,
every bit
too
about
cold,
it. So the
too
documentary,
cold.
it starts off with what you're talking about. I have a documentary coming out.
Aha.
And it starts off with too cold,
Right.
baby. And it's not Ice Ice Baby. And it starts off and you hear the music and it's black screen and then it fades into the Alpha doing the dance.
Uh-huh.
So my DJ knew about it, Earthquake. And he and I had worked together, and the original song was Vanilla Ice Baby. Ding, 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 ding. Vanilla Ice Baby. And all we did was put ice, ice. It was a delay. Instead of saying ice, it was a delay.
Oh, so like echo.
It was Vanilla Ice Baby is the original song.
Vanilla Ice.
And the echo is called a delay.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby. It came out Ice, Ice Baby. Because when you say it, everybody was singing Ice, Ice Baby, and we'd get to the audience and the crowd saying, Ice, Ice Baby. And we're like, fuck, that isn't really even the name. It's really Vanilla Ice Baby. You can hear the word vanilla in there. It says vanilla. We slowed it down.
Yeah, because the vanilla's like close, like
Vanilla.
Ice, Ice Baby.
It's just saying vanilla ice, and then you take the vanilla and slow it down, and it's in there. It says Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby. And then it's funny because it is the chant for that, and it came out to fit like OJ's glove. It was like, what the fuck? And
But you never heard it originally yourself.
Me, no, but my DJ
DJ
did.
did,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think he already knew that
that's
it
where
was.
the idea came together.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah.
Got it.
He already knew the alphas and all that. I didn't know. And I thought they were cool. When he pointed it out to me, I was like, oh, that's what you flipped it into? He goes, yeah, that's cool, right? I said, that's dope as fuck. And he goes, and Quake said, it's a fraternity, and they do this badass dance. I said, show it to me. And you know, we don't have YouTube or anything like that, so he didn't have any way to really show it to me, man. And we were trying to figure out how to see it, so he played the movie.
School Days.
Spike Lee, right?
School Days, yeah. That's his first.
And that's where I saw
his
it.
first big movie, yeah.
So if you look at my dance move, when you're seeing it,
oh.
and then I put a couple different steps in there where I do the back turn and all that and the flip and the step. But it's I got it from watching that shit. I was like, this is dope, man.
That's dope.
And it evolved into that. But originally it didn't start as that. It's funny.
Well, when you look at the lyrics, kind of like the last part of the song, you know, girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis, rock man lovers, driving Lamborghinis, jealous because I'm out getting mine, shade with the gauge, vanilla with the 9. Chumps are acting ill because they're full of 8-ball. Gunshots rang out. Like you know, grabbing your 9, you know, shells dropping. This is, would you essentially say this is one of the first gangster rap songs in a way?
If you perceive it like that, it's whatever the person listening perceives it as.
But that's a very violent verse. You're talking about doing a drive-by, right?
It is. It's not for kids, and it was funny how that worked out because I became this role model at the time, and I'm like, is anybody listening to the lyrics of this?
Right.
What parents are not listening to this? How am I this teeny bopper magazine role model with Shay with the Gauge, Vanilla with the 9, 8-ball is cocaine, Gauge and 9mm guns, and yet I'm on the cover of fucking Teen Beat? Really? I guess because I was a teenager.
Ironic, right?
That's it. I was a teenager.
I mean, were there like gangster rap songs before Ice Ice Baby?
Was there gangster rap songs before Ice Ice Baby?
This is way before NWA.
I don't even consider Ice Ice Baby a gangster rap.
Well, but that verse
I think I'm a story rap.
That verse is, though.
I'm not gangster.
I know that. But I'm saying, but that's one of the first.
It may be hardcore gangster the way it sounds, but I was around all that shit, and all you are is portraying what you see. A1A, you're cruising down there. I saw a bunch of guys, and same shit. You just reflect on what you see, and you just write it. It comes to your brain. You just see it. It's easy. It's in your subconscious. When it comes out, you just tell the story. The song came together really fast. But the truth is that it's just a moment about cruising A1A and all the shit you see every weekend and all the people you see. From everybody, the drug dealers on the corners to the fucking guns everywhere you see them, you know. Yeah, people pop trunks, people shoot people. I've got story after story of gun shootouts and fucking places and handy dans and forest lanes and A1A Beachfront Avenue and all the keg parties and there's so many things that just kind of come into your play when you start thinking of Ice Ice Baby of that time and era, that it's legendary, that it owns a space and time that can never be forgotten. And it became an anthem, not a song. It's not just a #1 song, it's still big amongst every generation, including ours, Generation X, to the 3 after hours, all the way to Alpha. And it just keeps regenerating itself to the youth. It's amazing. But gangster, maybe if you perceive it that way, it's all how you perceive it, you know? It's a story. I tell stories, I'm a story rapper. I don't believe in just not making any sense, and if you're gonna sit here and say something, might as well say something that tells a story so people can listen to it and be entertained by it.
Well, right around that time that you wrote that song, you dropped out of school?
Yeah.
In 10th grade?
Yeah. I was only like 16. Yeah. And I was scrounging.
Okay, why'd you drop out?
Because I had millions of dollars in front of me, and my teacher, I would fall asleep because I was up. You gotta understand, I partied with the party people, but never drank, never did anything. So I had to race. I raced motocross. So I would go to make my money racing dirt bikes. So I'd wake up the next morning after the party on Saturday, it was Sunday. So I'd go to the party because all the girls were there. So I had to go, it's a popular kid hangout. All the people talk about it. Everybody knew I didn't drink. They just, I couldn't. I'm all about motocross. They see my truck all week long. I never did homework in school, not one day ever. My mom went to the principal and said, my son does not do homework. He's a professional motocross racer. He will come to this school every day with his dirt bike in the back of his truck. So in the parking lot, you see my truck out there. I'm the only one with a dirt bike in it. After school, my mom made sure, they said, if you don't have calluses on your hands when you come home, that means you were fucking off and you're trying to go chase the pussy or some shit, right? and I got caught a couple times doing that. Funny story there. But yeah, and she made sure that if I'm gonna not do my homework, that I'm gonna be practicing the shit out of that motocross and go out there. And yeah, I'd make $1,500 a Sunday. And my brother, he was working at Piggly Wiggly, stacking groceries. I would purposely go through his line and get a bunch of shit and fan the money in front of him because he was such a dick to me growing up. He beat me up. He's 5 years older all the time. We love each other now. We're cool, but we laugh about it. He could have taken me fishing and been a cool brother, and instead he was beating me up the whole time. But so it gave me encouragement to say, I'm gonna fucking go out there and show this motherfucker. So I went and trained a little harder, worked a little harder. And one thing I learned from motocross that I use in life is that the competitive drive that it takes to win at motocross is something that is tattooed to you for life. And that guy Byron I told you about, my stepdad, he would take me to the races and shit, and he had my bike there, and he would sit there and change my tires, oil my chain, make sure everything was good and gassed up and ready to race. Man, I came in 4th place one time out of 40 riders, Lake Whitney Cycle Ranch. And he comes in, I take my helmet, he kicks my helmet, he starts packing up my shit, and I got a whole nother motor. He goes, I go, what's wrong? He was pissed, man. He goes, I can't believe I came out here to watch you get 4th place. This is some bullshit. Those 3 guys that beat you, you're way better than them. I'm not gonna spend my whole day, I work all week to get you these bikes and take your shit and fix this. Fuck this 4th place shit. He goes, you're way fucking better with that. And I go, I'm sitting back going, I'm tired. I'm like, just get off the track. Got mud all over my face and I'm watching him kick shit and throw it and load my bikes up and go home. I'm like, fuck. He was pissed the whole way home and didn't talk. I'm just, God. And he says, I know you were at your girlfriend's house last night. You're not committed to this. If you're not committed, I'm not gonna commit. You can take care of your own shit now. You can bring yourself to the races. Because I didn't come out here to watch you get 4th place. This is some bullshit. You're way better than that. I came in your room last night at 3 a.m. I know you were over at your girlfriend's house. And I did. And he goes, that's not winning. He goes, you think real professionals, you think, and at the time it was like Jeremy McGrath or whoever it was, not Jeremy, even before, Brock Glover and all these guys, he was mentioning these pros that I really loved, you know, Ricky Johnson, that's who he was using. And he said, you think those guys went out and got pussy the night before they had a big race? You're a dumbass, you're not committed, I'm not committed. All week, I learned something there. I learned that when the gate drops, the bullshit stops. So 40 riders, who wants it the most? He goes, you don't want it. You don't want this. You're out here wasting my time, your time, and everybody's time. He says, this is bullshit, 4th place. He goes, but I beat the other 36 guys. No, man. And sure enough, I went out and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I called my girlfriend, honey, I can't make it. I can't make it this week. I'm dedicated and committed. This is more important than this piece of ass, and I'm sorry to you. And it didn't work out, the relationship, and I committed myself to this motocross, and sure enough, the practice makes perfect. I wrote about that in a song, Play That Funky Music. I said, but not if you're a loafer. It's in the instructions of life, my mom said. She goes, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you don't go out and pay attention to the word pursuit, you might not pursue it. They wouldn't put the word pursuit in the instructions if you didn't have to go pursue it. So get your ass up and go pursue your happiness. What would make you happy? Coming in 4th place or 1st place? And I go, fucking Mom, you got me again. Look, I got goosebumps.
Okay. Right around that time.
I smoked those guys, by the way, when I came back. And what I learned from this is that I carry this in life. When I became a rapper and all that, I was a rapper in the middle of all that. I still carried that same competitive drive with me. I'm a battle rapper. I grew up on, battling. I will battle anybody from just off the top of the head. That's what I do. I've come from late 80s and shit. That's what you do. You go to the parking lot, keg drinking parties, and you talk shit. It started off with your mama jokes, Your mama got so much hair on her arm, looked like she got buckwheat in a headlock. It just 8 guys from the football team riding around in a Volkswagen bus, popping a wheelie because there's so much weight in the back, eating burritos and farting all over each other. Telling your mama jokes and rapping.
Well, at one point, you get arrested for assault.
One point?
Multiple points?
Let's just stay with one.
Okay. Well, because you spent 2 weeks in jail for one criminal.
Incident. 2 weeks in jail once.
Okay.
How
many assault arrests did you have?
I don't keep track of that shit. They asked me that last time I went through Canada, and I go, you tell me, it's on your computer. I have no idea.
Okay.
I ran the streets, man. I got arrested many, many times, probably more than you can find out on that computer. Half of them have been expunged.
What was the most serious situation you got arrested?
I'm not any kind of murderer. I'm not any kind of person that's going to hurt anybody or do anything like that.
Just fist fights, basically?
Huh?
Just fist fights?
Running with the wrong crowd.
Okay.
Wrong people. You learn, you get wise when you get older and you go, that was dumb. I was young and dumb. And I owed these people something because they did something for me that I'm not going to sit here and detail out with you that would, I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
But let's just to be fair, yeah, I ran with some pretty rough people. Did some rough shit. And I ended up, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And I still believe in that today. And I didn't know that back then. When you're young and dumb, you ask a favor to somebody and then you're fucking in it for life and you can't get out. And you're like, God damn it. So, yeah, I think I paid my dues, but ran with the wrong crews, man. It was not, I think you should all kids, all people out there, everybody should probably watch and think about who they're really hanging with and probably research. I think it's easier to research people today because you can check them out, and who is this person I'm hanging with? But when you're young, they may not have a record on fucking eBay or, on the internet that you can check out, right? So, watch who you're hanging with and running with. I didn't know. Even the whole Juan Almeida thing and everything, I didn't even know, man. I found myself in so many places being young and dumb And looking back on it now in my life going, holy shit, I shouldn't have been with those people. I shouldn't have been with that. I shouldn't have been here. I found my way through it all and survived though, you know?
Well, as you're coming up, you would perform at this club called City Lights a lot. And at one point, a situation happened where you got 5 times. Can you talk about what happened?
Yeah. I got 5 times, got my main artery right here in my leg. I almost died. You only have 8 pints of blood. I lost 4.
Damn.
And it was in my friend's seat for 3 months after, and still didn't even dry up. Like he had the sponge seat, you know, underneath it, and it was in the seat when he took me to the hospital. My buddy Phil took me to the hospital. It was his fight. It wasn't even my fight. I didn't even know who this guy was. I was his passenger.
Oh.
And Phil gets out of the car at this dude's house, and I think it was over a girl or something stupid. I didn't even know. I'm riding with him, man. He goes, I'm gonna stop off at this dude's house and fuck him up. And I'm with this dude, Phil. And we're in high school, man. And this dude's got a beard like you and big. Nobody's gonna mess with Phil. Phil gets out of his car, man. And he's in the front yard of some dude's house. And he goes up and the dude comes out in his trench coat. And Phil runs like turns into the biggest in the world and runs. And I'm standing there and I'm like, what the was that? The dude was coming at him and he turns around and ran. Huh. This is my big ass Phil, man, the big dude. And the guy came at me. He goes, you want some of this? And I go, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what this is, bro. What's going on? I'm just standing there and he's yuck. Next thing I know, I turn around, I choke the dude. He's just a skinny dude, a little guy. And that's why I couldn't understand why Phil ran. I didn't see the knife. He ran because he had a knife. And Phil comes back after the dude's laughing. I beat the dude's ass. He saw me. Phil's 2 houses down in the front yard looking at me. I'm fighting this dude. Didn't even know he was stabbing me. And I'm choking him and I choked him out. Did one of those old UFC moves. I put him on the ground. I just choked him out. I'm punching him in the face. I beat his ass. He was a skinny little dude. He was easy to beat up. I let him go. He's out and I get up and he's still on the ground and he's laughing at me. I'm like, why are you laughing, dude? I just beat your ass. And I go I'm exhausted. So I put my hands like this and my hand slipped off. And I go, what the f-? And I looked at it and it was blood everywhere. And you got my main artery here. It was just gushing out like shit you'd see out of the movies where just an artery is main thing. It squirts out. And he got me in my ass cheek. Me across here, got 47 stitches on my hand.
47 stitches.
From here, see it? Right here, all the way down to here. I mean, I got scars. There's the fucking artery right there, dog. Not to show you my untanned leg. I don't wear fucking tight shorts, but that's where the knife went in right there. And I'll spare you the details of my ass, but
yeah, we don't need to see
there's
that.
The scar there. Scar stories, man. Nothing to it.
Okay.
You survive things, but I guess it sounds interesting when you hear this because I was literally a teenager in high school when this happened, and I told you I was running with wrong people in wrong crews, wrong areas, man, and you get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why I say watch out who you're hanging with. Less friends is better sometimes. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. God, that was so stupid, you know? But I also found myself in the right place at the right time many times.
Right. Was that the most violent incident you've ever been in?
Almost losing my life? Depends. The most blood, but not the most violent. I've been shot at.
You've been shot at?
I got carjacked.
You got carjacked?
Yeah.
Was this early or later?
And I was running in a zigzag so they couldn't shoot me. My friend was running straight and he outran me and he had shorter legs than I did because I just figured if he was shooting, I was gonna run so he couldn't get a straight beam on me.
Huh.
And we were in front of a bike shop called Wheels in Motion, and with my friend's Mercedes. There's 4 of us, and I was a backseat passenger, and it was his dad's Mercedes. They just came in. We were looking at it was like 11 o'clock at night, looking at all these badass bicycles. They had it all lit up, and we're like, man, it's a good neighborhood too. You think we're gonna get carjacked? Sure enough, man, I'm looking in the window and I see these dudes creeping around. Holy man, and they're looking around. I just sensed it right away. My other guys are still going, look at this bike, man. This is cool. I go, fellas, look at this over here, man. As soon as I said that, they all turn around. They look at this car. Dude comes out of the passenger side with a shotgun. Click.
Shotgun.
Boom. Saw it off, too. Shoots it in the air and says, give me your dog. He actually said, hey, dog, give me your That's exactly how I'll never forget it. Wait, man, let me tell you something. My buddy threw the keys in the air. They go, there's the keys, man. Take that. We all ran. The gun went off, bro. We're not going to stick around going, what do you want? You know? 4 of us, bro. We're just looking at bikes in a nice neighborhood. And they start shooting at us. And I started zigzagging. They ran straight in that way. And then we just met up. They found the car the same night.
Huh.
They just beat the stereo out of it and didn't get anything. It up. Gave it back to his dad. We almost lost our life. Stupid.
Huh.
In a good neighborhood. Just people, I guess where I lived, I guess people are creeping while people are sleeping. And I shouldn't be up at those hours in the middle of those nights and stuff because more prone to happen, I guess. You know, you can't window shop at 11 o'clock for bikes in a good neighborhood.
I mean, what's ironic?
This is funny we're talking. You know,
Yeah.
I laugh at all this now because I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I survived a lot. But you got to understand, no. You know what the most thing that probably most killed me the most was probably running around with them whole Suge Knight people and things. So
Right.
yeah, I've got many obstacles over the years that I've jumped the right hurdles and successfully survived, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I mean, what's
And
ironic?
cheers to everybody, including my enemies and everybody in the world, because
Yeah.
I believe that smiles are contagious, man, and life is about happiness, and you got to pursue it. But, you know, everybody has a young moment that we're all regretful of, and if you could probably go back and change it, which you can't, you probably would. You probably have quite a few of them in your life that if I tapped into it, you probably go, that was one of the stupidest things
Yeah.
I've ever did in my life, right?
Yes.
But the problem is yesterday's history. So if yesterday's history, tomorrow is a mystery. If you don't live day by day and you harp on all this from yesterday that you can't change anyway, you're wasting your time here on this planet. Think about that. And if you think about tomorrow too much, and you can't predict it, you really don't have a crystal ball. You're worrying about something that hadn't even happened yet. You're wasting your time again. And all you have is A to B. Spend your time precious. Don't even do it in a voting line. Don't even do it watching news channels. People, there's so many better things that you can time manage your days with that will lead to more happiness. Think about it.
What's ironic, though, is that after these situations, you went on the Stop the Violence tour,
Yeah. Hell yeah. Damn right, bro.
where you opened up for EPMD, Ice-T, Stetsasonic, Mix-a-Lot, who's still rich and happy. You know, I interviewed him a while back.
Who?
Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't fly.
Well, he made.
He's like, remember Madden?
Yeah.
John Madden?
Yeah, he didn't fly.
Never
yet.
flew.
Yeah. No, I remember when I interviewed him, he told me that he's made over $100 million off Baby Got.
Baby Got Back's made a lot of money, bro. I mean, because I believe, first of all, why own your publishing if you're not willing to leverage it? Some people own publishing and just sit around and say no to every single opportunity. But the reason you own publishing is because as you get on in your career, you can still monetize those tracks, number one. And number two, you can continue to record music with integrity. So in other words, I can get in the studio and I'm doing a new record now and I could give a shit less who buys it because I make money on my publishing. So I put the record out, I have fun. My fans that are hardcore want to hear it, they can have it. And I do videos like that. I did a video called Cars. Didn't even try to sell the record. I just did the video because I always wanted to do it. So that's the luxury you get from owning your publishing and, more importantly, using it properly. So yeah, Baby Got Back, I mean, tens of millions I think would be low.
So Baby Got Back has made over $100 million, you feel?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely made over $100 million. I can tell you that. I mean, I just look at my lifestyle and where it's been since 1992 and it hasn't fallen off.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
Shit, I think more than that.
Yeah. All the movies, all the
Everything,
commercials.
man. Come on.
Everything.
Probably more.
Yeah.
That's understatement.
Yeah,
He's
he
probably
produced it.
lowballing you so he don't have to pay the IRS.
Right. Because he produced it and he wrote the lyrics. So.
He's a fucking badass.
Yep.
Legend, man. Come on.
Facts.
I've known him since fucking forever. He doesn't recall the moment. It's funny because he doesn't recall it. I even brought it up to him. He goes, I don't remember that, Ice. And I heard you telling that story. And I said, well, that's funny. You don't remember it. But I got a whole gang of my whole crew and everything that remembers it. This is another funny story. The club was called Down Under One Club. I was opening up for him. I don't even think he knew who I was. I hadn't had a record out. It was not any kind of Vanilla Ice yet. So he might not remember me because I was just some punk kid that he didn't know. An opening act, he probably didn't know he even had an opening act that night. You know what I'm saying? It's a shitty club. He was just coming up. He did not have Baby Back yet. Nothing. He had a song called, This Is in the Hood.
My Posse's on Broadway?
Not even out yet.
Oh, okay.
Before that.
Before that, okay.
So the song that he had was called the Square Dance Rap.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So, you remember that?
I remember that.
Whip it to the left, whip it to the right, don't whip it too hard because the jeans are tight.
Yeah. Square Dance Rap.
So that's the in-between there, before he had done shit. And some dude they got in a gun, we were performing, or about to perform or something like that. I think I performed and I was waiting for him and I was there, and I'm the only white dude, obviously, always, in any of the places I was at. But there was a kid with his shirt off and no fucking shoes, man, came in with I can't make this shit up, bro, a musket rifle. And he fucking had a goddamn back, one of those pouches with made of leather with a thing, and you pull it off, and he pulled the fucking thing off with his teeth, and he stuffed it in there, and he stuck a goddamn stick in the end of it, and he put a fucking deal in it, and he shot this dude's back window out, and it shot out smoke. Boom! It was loud. It was awesome. I was underneath a car in the parking lot watching this go on, and I looked over at Mix-a-Lot running too. I go, "You don't remember getting that shit?" And he goes, "No." He must have just ran and never looked back. But it was that night. We were there. It was there. I couldn't forget that for the life of me. And they shot out the back window, and that was the reason the whole club came out to the parking lot. Dude. That's my Mix-a-Lot story. He's funny, though.
Ice Ice Baby comes out, blows up. You're going on huge tours, #1 record, et cetera, et cetera. And then at one point, Madonna shows up at one of your shows.
In New York.
And she's a megastar at this point.
Was that at, what's that venue? Famous venue in New York.
Madison Square Garden?
Boom.
Okay.
I'm not from New York. I do know the name.
Yeah, Madison
Brain
Square
farted,
Garden.
of course.
Okay, and
Madison
you gotta
Square
understand,
Garden.
at the time, Madonna was like the female Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Madonna is huge,
Was the female
man.
equivalent of Michael Jackson.
Shit, yes. I don't even want to say bigger, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe even bigger than Michael at that time.
Yeah,
there was a time where she might have been bigger than Michael.
Possibly. Possibly. She was huge.
Legend.
So, she came in your dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, I'm not going to give you all the stories on Madonna because out of respect for my wife, I got to be a gentleman and not tell you all that. But yeah, there's a lot of stories there. Wow. I'll just tell you that she was a sweetheart. She's a legend. And I wish I could tell you something like really fascinating about her that would just, be interesting. And honestly, when two people are dating, like when she came in, because, we dated. So she came in the dressing room. Is that what you want to know? She came in and said hello.
Okay.
Hi, Madonna. Hi. And then she watched the entire show. She was dancing the entire time. Mm-hmm. And she was right there in the front row, just a little bit to the left, with her crew and her entourage. They were all dancing, heavy dancing, like sweating. I was like looking at them like, damn, Madonna's dancing more than everybody in the crowd. And these are all teenagers. She was going off, loving it. And she came in after the show too, and then it was great, and introduced each other and exchanged phone numbers, and yeah, we went to eat, got to know each other a little bit, and dated. And then it became just a normal relationship between two people, and there is no fireworks to tell you beyond that, because when you take away all the celebrity thing from both sides, you got two people that either have to like each other or they don't like each other. Yeah. There's no cameras. There's two people, sitting in a room together, and then you have to either like each other. So that's it. We just kind of kicked it, and a year later, all the mess that, everybody knows happened between us, and then it just fizzled out because of that sex book thing.
Right. So you were in her sex book.
Yeah.
There's a book called Sex, and it had a whole bunch of interesting imagery.
Interesting, all right.
Right.
Good lack for better words. Dirty. It was dirty, brother.
It's a dirty book.
I hope she doesn't show her daughter that. Or maybe her daughter's old enough now, but boy, when she was growing up, I was watching it. I was like, damn. I never gave permission or signed any kind of permission to be in that book. I didn't know they were going to do a sex book and have me in there. I didn't know they were going to do all that. And I didn't know they were going to put me in that slutty package with her while I'm dating her. And see her in so many different ways that made me go, God, she made me look like the biggest fool on the planet. So that was the end of it for us.
Is it this right here? Yeah.
Oh, I've seen the book. Everybody's
Right.
seen it's got like a metal copy, a metal cover to the book.
Well, I mean, you're with her and y'all are naked or partially naked.
Yeah.
Obviously, you see the photographer, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a hidden camera or anything.
No.
So you were just cool with someone just taking pictures, but you just didn't know what it was for?
I'm Vanilla Ice. How many people, every time I show up for any event, and Madonna too, pictures automatically happen.
Well, yeah,
You
but this
can't
looks like an
control that.
intimate moment, though.
When you try to control it, you end up like Miranda Lambert.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You just, hi, smile. But you know, the thing is, it's just weird because I never knew where it was going, what it was doing. She had people around her. They were taking pictures of her all the time. What did I know? She had her makeup on. Hey, come over here. We didn't really stage or set up any of this stuff. It was a movement. And when you're dealing with this photographer, that's probably one of the greatest legendary photographers in the world, Weber, right?
I think so, yeah.
Legend himself, beyond, right?
Yeah.
You're told to just follow that legend's direction and do whatever the fuck. They're just gonna do some pictures of you guys. Okay, cool. We're on the beach. We're over at my house, actually. That was all my house. And I'm like, great. But I didn't see this book coming out like this. They didn't tell us, hey, you're about to be involved in the sluttiest package ever produced by any singing celebrity in the history of the world, almost pornographic. If not, it is pornographic.
Yeah, it's kind of pornographic, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So I didn't like it. And I wasn't asked, I wasn't told, it was elusive. It was done under the radar with me, never brought to my attention. And then when it came out, it was shocking and it ended our relationship. But who gives a shit, man? I'm happy. I got kids, beautiful wife, and love is real. That's some puppy shit. Love is the hardest thing. Frank Sinatra says that you're nobody, no matter who you are. You can have trillions of dollars, but you're nobody in this world. You ain't nobody till somebody loves you. And it's true, man.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
true.
didn't she propose to you at one point?
Madonna proposed to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird, right?
And you said no?
proposes to? I told her I'm way too young for you.
Okay.
I said I ain't thinking about marriage.
How much older was she than you at the time?
Woo! Man, the oldest girl I've ever dated in my whole
Okay,
life.
well, hold on. Madonna, age?
She was the
She
oldest,
is 65. And you're how
oldest
old?
girl I ever dated. She's 10 years.
So you're 55.
Yeah.
So she was 10 years old. Oh, so you were like 20.
And I was a kid, brother. I was 20.
20, and she was 30. Well, that's not too bad, though.
To a 20-year-old? I never dated anybody even older than me, I'm like,
Yeah,
when you're 20, you're barely a teenager. You're barely an adult.
I had a serious relationship with an older woman.
You're still
older
a
women,
teenager
They
at
know
20.
tricks that you haven't seen before. Like, they pull some shit out the
No,
bag that you're like, whoa, I didn't know that was possible.
Well, I'm still waiting for that bag. Didn't show up.
Didn't show up. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You were Madonna, huh?
I don't have any fireworks or anything to tell you about it. The
She's
truth
big. You know
behind it
something?
is,
She's big about proposing to men, because I remember when I interviewed Dennis Rodman, he said that she proposed
that to him, too.
Yeah. And she tried to get pregnant by him also.
well, it worked with Sean Penn.
It did? Yeah, and Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
Hey, out of all respect for my wife, just take it with light humor and understand it's just pop culture. And it's, there's nothing there. It's many, many years ago, and it's entertainment, it's stories, it's funny. But that book was pathetic.
So you were upset over the book, and that's why you guys broke up.
100%.
Got it.
Without
Did
a
you
doubt.
ever run into her after that?
No,
Never?
no.
Okay.
Never seen her, heard from her at all since then. No.
Well, in
Tried to call me on the phone and I wouldn't answer it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
never.
Well, in 91, there was a situation where you got arrested for a firearm charge. So according to reports, you're outside of a supermarket and a homeless guy tried to sell you a silver chain.
I don't know if it was silver. Silver?
Something.
It was a chain.
Yeah.
It was a necklace.
They say you pulled out a gun on him.
I did.
Okay.
This guy was scaring the shit out of me, man. He pulled up at Ralph's, Laurel Canyon. It's funny because I had Shapiro, the same guy that got OJ off, get me off.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I was innocent. There's a different things there.
Right.
So what happened is that I was at Ralph's getting groceries after filming all day, cool as ice. So we finished, and it was probably around 11, 12 at night, late night, right? some guy, I'm sitting in the parking lot and my bodyguard and my friend Darren went in to get the groceries. And I'm just sitting there in the parking lot. And they're smart enough to leave their guns in the car, I guess, because they're not going to go into the grocery store with guns in Los Angeles. You can do that anywhere else, but you can't do it in California. We understand that.
Yeah, unless you have a carry permit, which is hard to get.
They did not have carry permits for that state.
Yeah.
And you can't get one for that state unless you're an ex-cop. So there's a lot of rules on handguns and stuff in California that don't exist in the states that we're from.
Right.
I don't know all this stuff. I'm running around. I got Suge Knight after me. I got all these people I've seen. I'm carrying a gun. I don't give a shit what you say. I've seen guns, whether they have permits or not. I've seen too much shit in my life, shit that I just explained to you. So there's no way that we're gonna go run around. I got 2 bodyguards and they both carry guns. I didn't carry one personally, but he left his gun in the car. Thank goodness. It was in the back seat, sitting on the floorboard, and they went to get groceries. Smart thing to do. You don't want to go in a grocery store with a gun. And next thing I know, this guy's trying to sell me a necklace. He's stinky bum, fucking beating on my window, trying to smash the window with the necklace, like, psh, psh, you want to buy a necklace? And I'm like, no, dude, it's cool. Go away, please. I'm okay. And then he starts getting aggressive and starts smashing it like he's trying to smash the window, and the necklace is hitting the window, and you can hear it all going, and I'm like, shit, he's about to shatter the fucking glass on me. And I go, get the fuck back, dude. What the fuck is this shit? I don't want the necklace, you know? And he's like, get my fucking necklace. I'm like, God damn, bro, this is like a zombie necklace sale or some shit. He would not go the fuck away. And I go, what the fuck, man? And I'm reaching around, and I'm like, I'm about to get shattered. I'm holding my hand up, and I reach around. I go, no way, he left his gun here. I pulled it out, and I set it on my lap. I didn't put it on him. I go, man, please, get the fuck away from this vehicle. He goes, it's cool, dog. It's cool, dog. And then he left. I put the gun back. I leaned my seat back. I'm waiting for him to go get the groceries. I thought it was over.
He goes to the police?
10, 15 minutes later, the SWAT team, forget the police.
Damn.
I'm talking 30 cops, man, with the shields. Shields out, SWAT across them. Step out of the vehicle, face down on the ground. I get out of the vehicle, man. I get hit 3 or 4 times in the back of the head, pistol whipped, they call it, with the back of the shotgun. Pretty bad. I said, hey, you know, I'm not trying to be anything here, but I don't know what's going on, you know? They said, we got a call that you're robbing the store. And I go, man, I'm not robbing this store. I don't rob stores. What are you talking about? Foot on my neck, hard too. I remember like, and I was like, I can't talk. Let me just say what I go. And he go, holy shit, are you Vanilla Ice? Is that Vanilla Ice down there? I go, yeah, yeah, it is. And they go, Chief, this is Vanilla Ice.
He's probably not robbing the store.
All the guns went, kind of eased up. They were ready to shoot us, man. They were ready to fucking blast everybody, and then they kind of eased up a minute, and then they all came over to have a look, and they go, holy fuck, it is Vanilla, you know, and do their whole thing. And at that point, they realized that, you know, and then my guys come out with groceries, look at all this shit, and they're like, and they see me on the ground with the cops, and they're like, what happened? What happened? Put them in handcuffs. All 4 of us in the car were in handcuffs. I'm the only one that goes to jail. Every cop comes by. This is before selfies and stuff, so they had the cameras. They went and got the cheap.
Oh yeah, the disposable cameras, yeah.
I had all day, all night sitting in that cell taking pictures with every cop in the entire force. And I'm sitting there in the jail, man. They let me out the next day. I go into a room and I meet Robert Shapiro, guy who got OJ off. This is before he did OJ. And when I saw him doing OJ, I go, that's the guy who got me off way back in the day. But I didn't know about gun charges in LA and all that. So that they hit me with those type of things. But it was probably a good decision. I really didn't know what that guy was trying to do. He was trying to really fuck shit up, you know. And I probably should have just not reached for the gun. Probably should have just put it in drive or in left, or, you know, you always think about what you could have done differently to not end up in that situation when you're sitting in a jail cell going, why did I do that?
Well, like you said, at the time you were filming Cool as Ice, which was...
Hey, man.
You had a starring role in that. That film, from what I understand, cost $6 million to make. but only made 1.2 million at the box office.
None of my money. Maybe that 1.2 it made went to my pocket. Hey, it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm happy. I still think it's a legendary movie. It's great. It gives you a sign of the times of the 90s that was not a lot of movies really kind of reflect off of the 90s like that one. If you look
Yeah.
at the fashion, I had Z Cavricis on in that movie, man.
Naomi Campbell was in it.
Naomi Campbell was in it.
Yeah.
Bobby Brown was in it, the girl.
Yes.
So many actors and people. The movie's classic. The director, everybody. The movie's a cult classic. It's already there. So I love it. And the cheesiness of it is you can't recreate that these days. You know what I'm saying? It's like trying to recreate an analog rap record with the gritty
Yeah.
in the sample that was just there. You know, with an SP1200 drum machine. Everything's too digital, too clear now. Mm-hmm. Bruno Mars tries to recreate the old school sound, but it doesn't come out like that, right? He does a good job, but it doesn't have that same grit.
Well, around that time, as you're blowing up, you were a spokesman for Nike and Coca-Cola. That's insane when you think about it, what it takes to get a Nike or a Coca-Cola ad these days.
All it takes to get a Nike or a Coca-Cola ad is to be on every front page of every magazine and every television and have a #1 hit and be on MTV and the #1 video, and then, hey, everybody's looking at this. Let's just hang a logo over his head like he's a NASCAR driver and stick our sticker up there with him. Now it's, you know, that back then it was Coca-Cola and all them. Now it's Coca-Cola and all them, and I got Home Depots and Lowe's and I got all the other ones. There's a bunch of stickers around anybody that people are looking at. Mm-hmm. And you have to look at it like it's a sponsorship for NASCAR. Look at all the stickers that are on those NASCARs or Formula One. Look at the cars. Look at the stickers. Every sticker. They didn't just say, hey, I like stickers. I'm going to put a sticker on here.
They're paying checks for that.
Them stickers are getting checks.
Like, how big were the checks from Nike and Coca-Cola?
Oh, I don't remember, but they were, man, money flows in like a faucet left on.
If you were to just eyeball it, do you...
Hundreds of millions. You're talking major sponsorship.
That's
you're
what
talking
I'm saying.
At one point bigger than anybody. I was bigger than anybody at one point, you know. There was nothing bigger than Vanilla Ice. Still got the #1 sold record in the history of the world. How can you get bigger than that? The impact is unbelievable. I look back on it, and believe me, I have no ego at all whatsoever. I lost it a long time ago, but I look back at it and go, holy shit. 500 million records?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I didn't have a crystal ball. I didn't know all that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be an anthem.
Years later, though, like in 2007, Nike released a Vanilla Ice shoe in their Fallen Heroes pack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have some inside.
Right. But at the time, you didn't have your own sneaker from Nike or anything else. They just basically was a sponsorship.
Yep.
Got it.
They did the Vanilla Ice to the Extreme sneaker, and it's an SB, and it's a badass sneaker, man.
Yeah. It's red with the stars on it.
Sick. High top. It's got my. It's the exact same colors of my To the Extreme album cover with Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, you could tell that's what they did.
Yeah, and then if you look on the inside of the shoe, on the sole on the inside or the insole, it's a pompadour haircut. It's my haircut. You remember the haircut with the streak, the blonde streak?
Yep.
Holy shit! I had some killer hairdos, man.
Well, by 1994, you kind of changed direction. So you became really interested in Rasta.
Birds back.
You grew dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And you started smoking weed. You became a vegetarian.
Yep.
How was that? Because white people with dreadlocks, not always the easiest thing to grow. And, the acceptance isn't always there.
So I grew them by going in the ocean, South Beach, putting sand in my hair and never washing it.
Right.
And it just crinkles up, and then you can take it and do that, and it'll make a dread. It's not that hard. The sand and stuff, it gets gross. But I was doing it to just not to have any kind of image change or anything, is to kind of like hide out, like to be different, because everybody was so recognizable my other way that I couldn't even fill up my car with gas without being hounded everywhere I go. And I didn't want to live like a hermit anymore. I'm an outside guy. I live in Florida. I want to go shopping. I want to go see people. I want to go eat in the restaurants. And how can I do that? So that was kind of my disguise kind of thing, was to kind of flip the script on them, image-wise and all that. But it wasn't planned. It was just kind of like an escape from all of taking it to the extreme, pretty much, This is 94. So it was... 4 years later, after Ice Ice Baby, right? So I needed to, escape reality. I tried so many different ways. I tried with the drugs, which I told you about.
Yeah.
That didn't work because you always have to come back to reality. You can only escape it from the time you're high. When you come back to reality, you're like, there it is, reality. So fuck, that don't work. Quit that shit. That's a dumb option. You have to face reality, and that's the best way to handle all your problems is wake up every day and whatever comes your way, put the fires out, man. Be a good person, enjoy your life, spread that love to everybody. That's what I do. I'm a very positive beacon, and I go around every day trying to help people out and show them that smiles are contagious. Don't take things so serious. I try not to be the therapy guy for too many people, but words of wisdom are very helpful. My mom gave them to me. Throughout the years, I can give you so many words of wisdom, little phrases and stuff. Like I told you about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
Yes.
things like that. My mom was so good with it. My mom said, keep your dancing shoes on through life. You'll never take anything too serious. You'll be in great shape. And if you surround yourself with people who are dancing, you'll always be happy. I said, why, Mom? She goes, because you can't dance if you're miserable.
There
Mom,
you go.
I got so many fucking wisdom from my mom, so much. It's unreal.
Well, last time, we talked about the murders of Tupac and Biggie. And you said that you know more than you should about Biggie's murder. Recently, I had Whack 100 on my show. And he said something that I'd heard before from Mob James and from Greg Kading, who was the investigator that investigated Biggie's and Tupac's murders. Whack 100 once again said that Poochie was the one that killed Biggie. Poochie was a blood, he was an affiliate of Suge Knight. Now, the person who paid him or something is a little bit fuzzy, but I keep, and Poochie's dead now, by the way. He got killed.
Yeah.
The shooter was paid to do that, right? He's dead, right? And it was
The guy who shot Biggie.
Yeah, he's
And you're
dead.
saying you know who that is?
Everybody know who that is, right? He's sitting there.
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
So can you say who it
He's
is?
dead. Named Poochie.
Poochie's a West Coast guy.
Yeah, but
One of Suge's guys,
it was
actually.
no, I can't say Suge's guy. He motherfucking.
Well, he was affiliated with
He a
Suge.
Paru, so we all affiliated in that case.
When you hear that name Poochie, does it sound familiar at all?
Yep.
Or? Yeah?
Yep. It's my answer.
That's your answer.
One word.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So there you have it. There you have
They're
it.
going to find it. It's all there. It's all in the trail. They're sniffing, and they'll keep sniffing until they find it, and they're there. So, yeah, I don't think there's any justice to be found. I just think curiosity will be solved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad.
Very
It's
sad.
not kind of sad. It is sad.
Very sad.
It's so stupid, though, man. And that goes to show you that people take literally rap music too serious, and they always have. If you think about it, look at the history of rap music and how serious they take it. But the seriousness of taking it in certain ways has created it at the same time, rap music. Because a lot of people thought when rap music comes out, it's going to be a fad, it'll be gone, it won't last. This is something stupid. Remember that in the first rap music? This is not singing, it's not going to last. But words to music are still words to music, and when these two artists, legendary artists, start putting words to music, it becomes more interesting and more fascinated in the whole thing by becoming a mystery rather than having it all known. And due to the fact of the level of interest is highly elevated with these two guys because of the words in their music. The last album of Biggie was called
Life After Death.
Life After Death. The album before that was called
Ready to Die.
Thank You.
Yeah.
Tupac's album.
Oh yeah, he
Ready
talked
to
about
Die.
he talked
Two.
about death all
And
throughout.
this is my point. It's
Yeah.
like they almost manifested this themselves.
Oh, when I talked to Tupac's brother, Mo Preem, he said, yeah, he's like every song, dying, dying. Tupac's last video was him in heaven.
So
I ain't
some
mad at
people
you.
that listened to their music obviously took it way too serious, right? and saw a benefit somewhere for them, in whether it's finances or eliminations or past differences,
Yeah.
for lack of better words.
Well, you know, I interviewed Boosie recently, and we were talking about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. And he said he hates the beef because 90% of the beefs that he was involved with, that in Baton Rouge where he grew up, ended in extreme violence or death.
Yep.
And we started going down the list of major beefs in hip hop. MC and DJ Quick. Someone died during an event where both of them were there.
Yeah.
Ice Cube and NWA, people were beat up and jumped. Dre and Eazy-E, situations between, you know, the Suge Knight showing up at Eazy's hotel room and allegedly beating him up to sign the contract.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, there was a shooting, you know, when Foxy dissed Lil' Kim in front of Hot 97.
Yep.
Game and 50, shooting that happened in front of Hot 97 again.
Exactly.
50 Cent and Ja Rule, incident in the studio where 50 got stabbed.
true.
T.I. and Lil Flip, altercation in Lil Flip's hometown where a
Yep.
bunch of stuff happens. Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy, someone died. You know, because Jeezy said, oh, someone bring me back Gucci's chain, and there was a home invasion and someone ends up getting killed. Drake and Kendrick Lamar, Drake's bodyguard gets shot in front of his house. Not to say it had anything to do with Kendrick, but it's happening at that time.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
There's more. You got to go to Fifth Ward Boys. You got to go to UGK. You
Yeah.
got to go to, you know what I'm saying? Brother, I can go deep on you. If there's so many stories. we could
Young
sit on
Dolph and Yo Gotti. Dolph is dead.
Dolph is dead.
And
Yep.
and Gotti's brother got killed after a funeral. Like it happens over and over and over again. And of course, Tupac and Biggie, where both of them end up dying. And it
Taking things way too serious. This is
Yes.
the difference, man. You got to look at this like it's entertainment. These people don't. They take it serious like it's their life. Either that or there's some serious, you know, words that just, I don't know if words took place or if they actually did some stuff on the streets that has nothing to do with the music. And then there was just you know, some of these gangsters that, you know, their life caught up with them. And then they became famous. And now all of a sudden their background is like haunting them.
Yeah.
Bobby Shmurda. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. But then there's also just beef like talking shit. Like, who's the most hated rapper today? Tech Nine or some shit, you know, or not Tech
Is it
Nine,
not?
6ix9ine, sorry.
Yeah,
Not Tech
Tekashi
Nine's
6ix9ine.
low.
Tech Nine's low.
Tech Nine's low.
I was like, huh?
6ix9ine, sorry.
Tekashi
no, everybody knows
6ix9ine,
Tech.
Yeah.
No, 6ix9ine, sorry. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because of the words. It's just words. That means people are taking it too serious. To me, it's just words, man. It's like, oh my God, oh, Eminem, oh, Vanilla Ice, oh, whoever, you know, said this in a rap song. Really? You gonna kill somebody over this stuff? This is entertainment. This is like making a movie. Look at ICP. They murder people in their songs. Do you think they really, you look at Eazy-E, they went and did every drive-by in their songs. If they did that, why ain't they in jail? They're telling and admitting it. Well, they're just creating stories that they saw. If you interview them, they go, wow, you ever did any drive-by? Nah, dog, but I saw it every day. It's where I lived, up in Compton. That's how it happened. I see it. I can write a story about my life. It's easy. Okay, well, Ice Ice Baby too, man. Shade with the Gauge, Vanilla with the 9.
Yeah.
Same shit. I grew up seeing that shit. You just heard stories. I could tell you a million more.
Yeah.
Guns were a part of my life. You don't travel out the door without a gun from all the shit you've seen in your life and been around. And there's nobody that you're gonna be around today that ain't gonna require that gun. You're gonna need it everywhere you go, just because they're gonna have one, and you never know what's gonna happen. Too much shit has happened out of nowhere just that you didn't see coming, so you might as well have some defense there.
2002, you did a celebrity boxing match with Todd Bridges. I interviewed him about this. He said that before the fight, he told you, I'm not gonna lose, Ice, I'm not gonna lose.
Oh, we said a bunch. We were drunk in the bar that night.
Look, dude, I'm not losing on national TV. They said, you better be ready. And that's when I was chunky too. I was thick and I was still mad at the world. I wasn't mad at the world, but I was still mad. And then what happened was I beat Vanilla Ice up, and then I was totally like depressed. I got boxer's remorse. It was terrible. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, and then I finally, you know, I was able to fix those feelings and emotions too. And then it helped me, you know, stay sober even longer. So
We hung out till 2 a.m. laughing about the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
all a joke, so we have to laugh about it. It's like neither one of us are boxers. We're here, and we both getting paychecks, ain't we?
Right.
Yeah, dog, let's just have some fun, okay? Shot. And we were with Tank Abbott. He was starting shit with everybody in the bar. He was trying to make a fight, bro. I said, I got to get out of this bar. And it was in the hotel. We were all in the same hotel. Tank Abbott will create if you're in a bar with Tank Abbott, get ready for the biggest entertainment you'll ever see. He will freaking bar fight anybody.
Oh, yeah, he's a UFC legend.
It.
Yeah.
Straight up start the shit. He goes, find me the biggest guy in the fucking bar right now. See the guy over in the fucking corner over there? I'm gonna go fuck him up. Watch this shit. Tank, what a crazy dude, man. He's a legend himself, because we all know, you know Tank Abbott, right?
Not personally, but I know who he is.
Yeah. Remember the first UFCs?
Oh yeah, he was a wild man.
Badass brawler, man, and he did that because they found him in the bar doing that. I went to my hotel room that night, and I'm not shitting you. I saw him leaving in handcuffs. I was with him in the bar. I went up to my hotel room, looked out the window, and there he was in handcuffs, being handed out, taken out of the fucking same bar I was with him in.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then he calls me back, gets out, and not too long after that, and he goes, "I'm ready for the fight."
Todd Bridges ended up winning.
Huh?
Todd Bridges ended up winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which neither one of you guys are
Don't
boxers,
matter,
so it's
brother.
whatever.
It doesn't matter. We were having a good time getting paid, and neither one of us are boxers. Who gives a shit? What about it? Fun time. Entertainment. I also did a bunch of other shit, celebrity stuff that was just like, you know what? Paychecks are fun. It always leads to adventure. Like, I really enjoyed going on Surreal Life. And people don't understand it. They say, why would you do that? And I'm like, because I get to hang out with fucking Ron Jeremy, dude. I don't have any other opportunity to hang out with Poncherella from Chips.
Yeah.
And Ron Jeremy,
Right.
Bridget Nielsen, Flava Flav, all these people that I get to be on there.
Todd Bridges was on that too, right?
Todd Bridges, everybody.
Yeah, and then
Mini-Me. Vern Troyer.
And what's the name with Sean Bob Willis?
Oh my God, and there's a lot of them died. China, she was on there with us.
Yeah.
Ron's in prison.
He has dementia now.
Does he?
Yeah, well, he got convicted for a bunch of rapes.
I couldn't believe
But then
that.
what happened was, after they put him in prison, they basically confirmed that he has complete and total dementia. He's just totally not there, so he was put in like a medical, institute, a medical facility, like a prison medical facility.
Poor
But his
guy.
mind is completely gone.
He was always a nice guy to me. I liked him. The other day I found something, man, it gives me goosebumps. I was looking in my office, and I cleaned out one of my desk drawers I haven't cleaned out in probably 15 years or more. And I pulled out a check that Ron Jeremy wrote for Little Smiles. It's my charity for terminally ill kids that I do here in Palm Beach. I've raised $2 million a year for this charity. And he came out one year and says, I really love what you're doing with these children, and I want to donate some money. I never cashed the check. I forgot. I left it in my drawer. And I'm still associated with all the Little Smiles, and I sent a picture to Chip, the guy who owns Little Smiles, with me, and I was like, look what I found in my drawer, a picture of Ron Jeremy donating money for a charity, Little Smiles. I said, you know what? I don't know what happened with him and all of this weird stuff with, it all went down during that Harvey Weinstein time, and everybody, and going down. And then I hear Ron Jeremy, and I don't know, man, it's weird because why would a porn star rape anybody getting all that pussy his whole life, It made no sense. So I couldn't, and I knew him from living with him, Surreal Life for like 2.5 months. So, I knew the guy, and I could never see him doing that or anything. And he was as weak as anything you could ever see. Like, any girl could probably whip his ass. Like, seriously.
Right, he was overweight.
He was
short.
such a wimp, man. Like, the biggest, how could he, it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm just calculating it in my brain. But I don't know anything. No disrespect to anybody. It's just me kind of pondering, but I don't know. Poor guy ended up like that. That's pretty, ugh.
The first porn movie I'd ever seen in junior high.
Yep.
My friend Mark Avanesian gave it to me.
You remember it.
I remember this.
Ron Jeremy.
It was called Springtime in the Rockies.
Yeah.
Right? He gave it to me on a VHS, like a copied VHS tape. This is the first and only time I've ever seen this, right? You gotta understand, the first porn movie a teenager ever sees, it's got Ron Jeremy, and he's like, there's this scene where he's watching like his wife like have sex with some other girl, and as he's watching it, he starts to like jack off, and then he gives himself head. And I've never seen that since.
Isn't that great that he can do that?
It was,
You haven't tried it?
I can't try it. I'm just not built for that activity. Like, I don't have the hardware. You know what I'm saying? I'll put that out there. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I don't have the hardware to give myself head. But he did it.
You gotta work
And
on
I've never seen that again.
Either you gotta work on stretching or work on stretching it.
Well, he's obviously was very long, and I guess he has like a short torso to go
He's a man
along
with
it.
a big cock. Yeah, everybody knew him. And you know what he told me? He always was like, you know how I could become so famous in porn? Why they kept asking for me to be with all the beautiful women? I go, why? He goes, because I'm ugly. I go, what do you mean? He goes, nobody wanted to see the hot, ripped guy that we all knew could get the woman. They want to see the average guy because they can, he told me this on Surreal Life. Huh. And I'm like, he wants to see the average guy that they feel like they could get a chance, like they could actually see themselves with that beautiful, hot woman. And so that's why it made it more appealing for Ron Jeremy, the ugly guy with the big cock, to get in there than the handsome guy. You know?
I mean, he had a big giant, he had a fat stomach and everything. He
goes, I was a professor at college.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Before this. And I go, what? I go, that's interesting. No, yeah, he was a professor, man. And he had a pet turtle.
Okay.
This guy was, I don't know, man, legend.
Well, in 2009, you started filming the Vanilla Ice Project on the DIY network. And then you wrote a book a couple years later, Vanilla Ice Project Real Estate Guide, about how to succeed in real estate.
Yep.
And you really went all in. I mean, this is your life, all these years later. At one point, and I haven't seen this yet, but people were mentioning it, when I was doing my research, you had a staircase with fish inside of it?
Yeah, heard about that?
I heard about this. Was this one of your homes or a home that you were?
My home.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had professional decorators before it got, this was my home on Star Island.
Oh, okay.
And what happened is I got hit by Hurricane Andrew. And I had just finished the whole house. Like, I lived for 3 years on a boat in the backyard, a big boat with 3 bedrooms, yacht. I built the dock first, plugged it in, it's there, got my bedrooms, air conditioning, kitchen, everything. I lived on my boat while they did construction on my house. And I watched the whole construction, right? As soon as I finished this damn house, beautiful. I mean, it had everything. It was all Art Deco style. I didn't know anything. I was young. I just paid the decorators a lot of money to go do it. One of the things they had was an acrylic staircase with fish swimming in each one of them. And they had little feeders that would go into them, so you didn't have to get in there, but they did have to go into them, pull the lids off, and clean them all the time. Yeah. It was a maintenance nightmare. But did they look cool? Absolutely. Had little goldfish swimming every step you walk up, and koi fish underneath it, so there was a pond underneath the whole staircase, so it felt like you were walking up or down into the water. It was kind of cool.
That's crazy. It almost reminds me of I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Remember the goldfish shoes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then I ended up doing a house on season 6 or 7 of Vanilla Ice Project, where I put in the kitchen. I just knocked a whole wall out and I put a gigantic jellyfish aquarium with moon jellyfish.
Wow.
The ones that don't sting you. And they glow. So we put the black light, obviously all the way through it, and it was transparent. So through the kitchen, your whole entire backsplash all the way down was a jellyfish tank, and it would go into the great room. So you could see into it and through it, and you could see these jellyfish swimming. Pretty sure you can YouTube that.
Dope.
The jellyfish.
Dope. Well, you do a lot of real estate stuff. And you talked about how there's advantages of actually burying someone in your backyard.
Yeah.
And you said something about it when Trump buried his ex-wife in his backyard.
Yes.
It got rid of all the liens.
Absolutely. Not just that. Hell, it's way beyond just liens. You don't owe any property tax forever. Never, ever again. This is why they just found out that this whole hoax that went viral about Elvis Presley in the state. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, so right now, last week, there was this big thing going viral about some foreclosure of Graceland, and the daughter of Lisa Marie, family of Elvis, is fighting for it. And I was about ready to go protest this because I'm a huge Elvis fan. I named my daughter Priscilla. Me and my wife are huge Elvis fans.
Yes.
And we're like, no way, it's got to stay in the family. This is bullshit. And I found out it was all really bullshit, the whole story, because you can't take it from them. It's impossible. You can't go bankrupt with Graceland. You maybe the business part of it, but the property will always remain with the family because of the burial site. It completely grandfathers it in. So you actually will never owe property tax on the entire property forever. Forever. You will also...
In every state?
Yes, in the United States of America.
So if I put a dead body in my backyard, anyone, right? Any dead body.
Your family.
Only my family.
Got to be your family.
Okay, so I gotta kill somebody. All right, let me think. Who do I don't? Who do
You
I
have to be
dislike?
related to them so that you have the tie to them.
Okay.
And that's what, and people used to do this back in the day. You have to understand it's only been, funeral homes is a business. Okay, if you don't understand how this works, they make millions of dollars.
They don't pay property
So,
tax on funeral.
Ask yourself this: does any cemetery in the United States of America pay property tax?
Wow.
Never will happen.
So
Any
once
cemetery,
you bury a family member in your backyard, you never
it
have
was
to pay
very
property
common
tax.
in the 1800s all the way up to about 1940s that people did it. They didn't have money to go do things that they have today, but the business of dying in funeral homes and cremations is cheapest way to get out, or buying a casket with, you know, like you're buying a car with 50 different options on chrome or jewelry or inlay and shit that's going to be buried under 6 feet.
Yeah.
It's a business, and they're profiting on that, and then they profit on putting the land. They own the land forever, tax-free, by burying the bodies on it. Why give them the benefit of a cemetery to make money on your dead body so that you can go over there and put flowers on it? Why not just walk out your backyard and put some flowers on your mom or your or Elvis or his mom or anybody that is, you know what I'm saying? Isn't Lisa Marie buried there too now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, I'm sure.
My point is that
I'm sure when you sell the house, though, you got to disclose to the new buyers.
You have to.
There's a corpse in your backyard.
There's also disclaimers about that too. There's some issues with that too. So do you get to carry on the same? And exhuming is a problem too. It's not so easy. You can't just say, I want to sell this property now. It's not so easy to sell your property.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, because then you have a body in the back, and then I don't know if the new owners want that.
Exactly.
Well, you got to think about that before you plant the body there. If you're ever going to try to sell the property, or do you want to keep this in your family name after you die, give it to your kids and their kids and their kids and their kids? That's why I said Elvis is bullshit, because that's Elvis buried in that backyard. You can't take it from that family.
Elvis is buried in his backyard?
In Graceland.
Oh.
That's why I was telling you that. Him and his mom is buried there, and his dad too.
Well, then now his daughter,
And his name is still spelled wrong on his birth certificate compared to his tombstone. There's one R missing. Aaron.
Okay. Last question. Last time that we did an interview, you talked about how you used to hang out with Pablo Escobar. You guys used to race boats.
No, I didn't race boats with Pablo. His crew.
His crew,
all the people and money launderers and drug cartel
when he like fly his helicopter to your backyard and stuff like that.
Yep.
That part of the interview went really viral.
Yep.
TMZ hit you up and asked you more questions. People Magazine did features and everything else like that. Any more stories from that era you could share?
Oh my God, how much time do you got?
Well, tell me some more stuff from that era.
Woo. So it was really weird because I didn't know who these people were, and they would come in town and then big entourage and leave, and they would have those badass cars, Mercedes, Testarossas, and different things like that, and I was all into the boats and the cars, and I'm just young and racing and stuff like that. So these are the people I would hang out with daily, and you never know who was going to come through, and you didn't have Google to find anybody, but you know, it goes deep. This guy Tarzan came in, and we didn't have any Russians around this. This was all basically Colombians and Latin, mostly people I was around, and some Americans. A lot of Americans drove the boats, you know. A lot of companies came up, like a company called Midnight Express, who still makes boats today. They started their boat making manufacturing career off of drug running. The reason the name is called Midnight Express, and they tell you about it. They'll tell you the history of how they became what they are. And they're still one of the most sought after boats. It's kind of like a really high-end boat right now. My buddy Guy Fieri that cooks, the spiky haired friend, he just bought one. Huh. So those boats go back to the reason they started the Midnight Express was the name. It tells you everything. It was an all black boat. The only company that made an all-black boat with a lot of hull room for square footage. And they dispersed the weight to where it was a catamaran boat, and it was able to stuff more cocaine up in or marijuana, but mainly cocaine, up into the hull, and then offset it with the CNG motors that Ralph built, which is also on every cocaine cowboy movie. That Ralph was a good friend of mine. He's worked for CNG, built these boats, made them faster, made them quicker, put more horsepower in the engines. The engine room was like Rolls-Royce engine room. And I'm like, how did he got all the money to do all this development and do all this shit? This was never here a few years ago. It was really trying to scrounge and, you know, take some old parts out of the junkyard, hone it out, get some more compression, try to get as much, you know, like hot rodding or drag racing and shit. And then all of a sudden money came in out of nowhere. And we were like, this went from one stinky gas smelling engine room to a gigantic 500 engines with chrome and jewelry on every one of them and all of them decked out. They're going in all these boats. Where are these boats coming from? Look at all the fiberglass being laid. Holy shit, what's that material? That's carbon fiber. They're laying that carbon fiber down. And I'm walking in all these boat manufacturing places. And one of them was Pepe Nunez. You can Google all these names. And you'll get all kinds of dirt on them. And you'll see that they're in all these documentaries, not just Cocaine Cowboys. That's a small portion. But you got a lot of other ones that are out there that are not just on Netflix. You might have to look on different YouTubes and stuff. Just stories and documentaries of different things. Look up Juan Almeida, look up Pepe Nunez, look up Ralph, look up C&G and Fort Apache. That's where I was daily. So I could tell you stories all day long about different things. And I know the drug running route was called Beer Can Alley. And they personally went out there at 4 in the morning with a black boat to dredge. It was a dredging boat with this big tube that went down, and they had scuba divers that would go down at night, and they would take a part of around this island that was it was only a foot deep, and maybe half a foot deep at low tide, right? So you couldn't get a boat through there. And every drug agent, DEA agent, anybody, Coast Guard, they knew they couldn't get through there, but guess what? They dredged it. The drug runners knew about these special routes. I knew about the special routes because every time I go out to test my boat, they'd go behind the island over there and go around this route. And I go, why? There's no, he goes, you don't need it. Follow where I'm telling you. And I go in there and I learn the path. He goes, you see that marker right there on the land? I go, yeah. He goes, as soon as you see that, you turn immediately to your right. And I'm going 80 mile an hour. Turn out. I turn. I go, holy shit. And he goes, see that marker on that island? Turn out. And you go and you snake through this dredged out area behind Beer Can Island that was a drug running route that if you go straight through there, you hit ground. So they had ran, and you could see on the newspaper articles, all these Coast Guard and drug DEA agents in their slower boats running ashore, not catching their assailants, and not being able to catch up with the drug runners because the drug runners got faster boats and everything. So what happened? So the DEA and the FBI and the Coast Guard all team up together to fight this war on drugs in Miami. And I'm sitting there in the middle of all this shit at Fort Apache where they build every one of the drug boats right in the middle of all the stuff. So what did they do? They came there and they talked to this guy who builds boats. And I actually owned one. His name was Don Aronow. That's a big name. Remember that? Google it. Check it out. Don Aronow. And he built boats. And so the way Thunderboat Row worked is you had cigarette boats, Wellcraft boats, Fort Apache boats, the racing, the one restaurant, which was the nucleus there, all down there. You had all these warehouses that you can put the boats, build them fiberglass, build your motors and all that stuff and put them together. Pantera boats. And what happened was Don Aronow went and did something that was a mistake, but he took money from the FBI, the DEA, and the Coast Guard to build their boats because they couldn't keep up with the drug runner boats. They were way faster. The drug runner boats, they just kept running them ashore. They always had a step ahead of them. They would dredge at night. They really went to the extreme to make sure that they didn't get caught with each hull, each boat was probably $50 million worth of cocaine on the streets, you know? So they didn't want to lose that. They didn't want to get caught. And it didn't matter if they did because they could produce it so easy with Pablo. But it was a hard time to get it in the country. And the way they got it in the country was through Bahamas. They went to Bahamas and then came across. And they had to try to outrun the guys when they spotted them coming halfway through. They got them on radar. We got to go out and chase them, get a helicopter, get all this shit. It's at nighttime. They're in a midnight express. There's no lights. Nobody can even see them in a helicopter at all. Not with a spotlight. You couldn't even keep up with them. So it got to be a thing, you know, and they would outthink them and beat them to the punch, and that's where I was at that whole time. And if you see it, they got mad at Don Aronow because he did that. So now he was giving an advantage to the people that were chasing all the drug runners' boats. You know what I'm saying? So now he put them in race boats with fast engines and stuff, and it ended up killing him. They killed him because of it. So
Wow.
all the people that were pissed off at him for doing that, they go, you're one of us. You've been making these boats and selling them to these drug users, and you know it. And he goes, I'm just a businessman. I don't know what you're talking about. If they come in here and buy a boat, I don't know who they are. And they go, bullshit. You know you sold all these boats to the Coast Guard. You know you sold them all to the DEA agents. And I got all these stories from Juan Almeida. And I saw it unfold in front of me. And not only did he go to prison, they had a race car driver, a famous race car driver named Randy Lanier, who drove the getaway car for the guy who shot him in the head. And there's a movie about it. You can see it, Don Aronow. I think Travolta played him. So he pulled up. I was there. I'm telling you, everything that I can tell you, I was probably in Fort Apache eating or in my boat looking at something, not knowing anything that's going on. And all this shit unfolds. He goes to prison. They tried to escape. He gives this guy 1 day helicopter training. 1 day. Never flew a helicopter in his life. Tomorrow I'm going to learn to fly a helicopter. The very next day I'm going into land in the prison yard, and I'm going to put Aronow in it, and I'm going to escape. And we're going to escape. Ben Kramer. Ben Kramer is the other name who had him shot. So he actually landed the helicopter, flew it all the way in the prison, took off, got out of the fucking prison, taken off, and hit a tree and crashed on the other side of the fucking killed him.
Damn.
That's it. That's what happened. And if you look at those stories, and nobody ever really ties all that into Pablo, it all revolves around. It's all Pablo's money. That's what made the boats faster. That's what they got pissed off at Don Aronow for selling those boats to him. And you know what he did? He did something that they didn't know. So if they would have known this, he was trying to explain it to him. He goes, listen, I know what I did. And he was trying to deny it. Instead of denying it, he should have told them. It would have saved his life. He said he laid the fiberglass heavier, and he decompressed the motors. So it was the exact same looking boat that ran 15 to 20 mile an hour slower because the fiberglass was heavier, because he actually had the boats that actually were running the boat. So why would you sell the boats that are gonna be chasing your fucking boats and your money? You're an idiot. We're gonna, pow, you dumbass, you fucked all of us. Now they can catch us. Our boats are the same speed as theirs. He goes, and they found out they weren't. So the boats they sold to the DEA and all them were way heavier, less compression on the motors, and they put a different pitch on the prop to slow them down. There's a whole bunch of details there that have never been exposed, and there's stories that are just so fascinating and interesting to me that I was even there, that I even know all this shit. How do I know this? Because I lived there, and I didn't even know what was going on until after it all happened.
Well, I just want to leave you with this. This is a quote that you said in one of your interviews. You said, at one point in my life, I didn't even know who I was, what my purpose was. I didn't want to live anymore. With hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, I didn't give a shit about life. Who I am today is a complete flip the script opposite of that, and just super grateful, man, for my family, for my kids. And that's the meaning of life, man, the true meaning of life.
100%. We can go around as a young person in this globe and see life in a different way. And then you know what happens is, I shook this whole globe up, like a snow globe. I shook it up. And you think reality is what you see in front of you, and then the snow globe kind of settles a little bit, and then you find out that none of it was real. It was all artificial. It's all just entertainment world. It's all on how people view you, even you, in this pop culture stories from Madonna to the, it's all just entertainment. But it's amazing that I've lived in all this and survived it all, and at this point of my life, that's the greatest accomplishment, is the children, the kids. And okay, so the snow globe sooner or later will settle, and that's when you realize that, okay, that was a wild ride. I'll have a lot of stories to tell, which is what we're here for, which is what you're here for. But I'm kind of boring now. I don't really have all those stories now. I collect cars and I do construction, but to get to this point and to be successful, I mean, there's some interesting things about my life and how I am now and stuff like that, which have nothing to do with all these great front porch stories. But it's two different people. And you find your purpose, you find out who you are. And I didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? Like, I know Justin Bieber could definitely use some advice. Lost. Because with all the success, nobody that, especially with what happened to me, 10 times even bigger than Bieber, or anybody, because of being me and white and who I am. And at the time, it was something far more impactual, if that makes any sense, for people to hate on or take a punch at or anything, right? So it was a groundbreaking thing that really was, and probably could have killed me in many, many ways. Not just the Suge Knight way but suicidal way, to the point where all my dreams that I thought were dreams turned out to be nightmares. And I figured out the biggest value and purpose in life is that it has nothing to do with money or buying all these things. These are all tax write-offs. They look cool to the person from the outside looking and dreaming of owning big things. You got to have something to shoot for, otherwise you don't have any purpose or meaning to wake up in the morning to go work, right? And you got to support your children.
Yeah.
But the truth is, none of it will bring you anything in life or happiness unless you have people to share it with, friends and family. And it boils down to the same person that barely can rub two nickels together. If they've got family and friends, they're very wealthy. One of the greatest things that Bob Marley ever said, one of the interviews that hit me to heart about Bob Marley, was he said that they asked him, he said, are you wealthy and riches?
I remember that interview, yeah.
And he goes, how you mean wealthy? What is your definition of wealthy? Wealthy in finance does not matter to me. That never has. I never have any desire to buy anything or do anything. He didn't even know about tax write-offs. So for him, he didn't care at all. Never did about the money. It just didn't make any. They lived differently, in his way of life, and all of his wives and all of his children and everything. The way of Jah.
Yeah.
And the Rastafarian way. It's something to really look at and learn from. Maybe not follow, but take some of the pieces out of it and learn that the part about their love is deeper in a religion than most other religions. And that's the part I love about it. So it kind of helped me focus on my religion, which is love. I believe love is, and even his son, Ziggy Marley, wrote a song, said, "Love is my religion." It's the name of the song.
Yeah, I know that song.
And he did that because as he was dying on his deathbed, Bob, he went to some hallucinate German doctor. It didn't work. He had cancer in the toe, and they said you should amputate it, and he didn't want to do that.
Right.
And from playing soccer from a toenail injury or something really so stupid, but it would have saved his life. And he went finally at the last part of his life after it spread through his lymph nodes and everything, and he said he thought Jah was going to save him. He said, "There's no way I'll die. He thought of himself as a speaker of Jah, almost a religion person that he was appointed by Jah to be this person, and he was given his success. He thought all this. He really believed it. And if you listen to the words in his music, and I've listened to it over and over to really understand it, he did believe it to the very end. And he took Ziggy at the end, and Ziggy wrote about this, and he said, "It's all a lie. Jah's not real."
Wow.
To Ziggy, his own son, he goes, "I want you to know, and he was very skinny and frail, and he goes,
Yeah.
"No religion is real." And he said, and this is what he told his son, and you know what he goes, "You know what's real? Only love. You don't have to die to figure it out. You don't have to guess. You don't have to guess if there's a red guy with a pitchfork. You don't have to guess if Moses was real. You don't have to guess if Allah is real and the meteorite that hit at Mecca, and you touch it, out of the billion meteorites on the planet, Allah said that's the one sent by God. You don't have to. None of this matters until they die to find out if that's real or not, right? So you need to understand, this is what I learned from this, right? That if you know that if there's any doubt in your brain at all that you die and that's it, game over, don't worry about it. Worry about that bridge when you cross it. But what you do know that you don't have to doubt or you don't have to have a belief in is that love. Love is real. It's here while you're alive and conscious. And by Bob saying that, I go, geez, man, I never really put love on that big of a pedestal, but I guess it's true, because if you really think about it, why are we really here as people? As we wake up every day, we go to work, we get a few things, whatever, as people, right? But love, man, isn't it what we're all kind of searching for in the real sense?
Yeah.
Without it, Frank Sinatra said, you're nobody. And it's true, man. And to have it is the luckiest, greatest thing in the world. Don't take it for granted. But if you have children, the love you have for them, you don't have to die to find out if it's real. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Live for that. So he comes out with his first big hit, Ziggy Marley, and it's called Love Is My Religion.
Yeah.
One of the greatest songs for words. He took on his dad's fairy dust and created another story to say, you know what, Dad? He had a big influence on his son. And that's why I listen to Ziggy too, because it reflects Bob. All of his kids, Damien, all of them, man, they got something to say from what they've learned from Dad.
Yeah.
Some words to music are very well needed out there. And I feel like Bob's are probably the most needed. And a lot of people never understand it, but out of every artist that ever walked this planet, that ever sang a song, no one in this ever, not Michael Jackson, not Elvis, not anybody has ever related to more people than Bob Marley because of the words. And it's all because of the words.
I agree.
3 little birds.
Yeah. That's what it is. Vanilla Ice, man, always a pleasure when
Don't
we get
worry
together. Always a
about a
pleasure.
thing.
Let's go check out your car collection. We got some new cars in the building this
Wanna
time.
go check out some toys?
Let's do it.
My man.